I'm recording this review of Green Eggs and Ham, this first season. I know that it says the first season in the title, but unfortunately I did not finish the season. I say unfortunately for you guys, but for me, it's not. The reason why is because I've seen enough of the show to where I could see I have a concrete opinion of what the show's gonna be, and I just don't like it, and I don't want to see anymore because this is extremely boring. And this is unfortunate because if you saw my first impressions of the first episode, I was interested. I was interested in where it was gonna go. But that first episode was a well-paced episode that introduced us to the characters, had some of the best animation in the entire show. And then it went downhill from there. Episode 2, Episode 3, and Episode 4, and Episode 6, and Episode 5, 8, whatever the hell episodes went on forever. That's because they're trying to adapt a Dr. Seuss storybook about a guy not wanting to eat green eggs and ham. Okay? I have read this book and was read this book many times as a child, and I'm a big fan of Dr. Seuss's work, but unfortunately this show adapted it pretty poorly because it doesn't even focus on it. I thought the whole show was going to be little episodes, like 10-minute episodes from the trailer, where our character is trying to get him to enjoy green eggs and ham, and then they end up getting into some kind of other trouble along the way. But seriously, it doesn't even focus on green eggs and ham. It's so weird and bizarre how they mention it, because like in the episode The Dark, he just mentions green eggs and ham at one point, randomly in the middle of the episode, and a guy goes, "I don't want to eat that." Well, it's like, this has nothing to do with green eggs and ham. They're worried about saving this Jiggaraff. They add some new characters, and these new characters are, first of all, this mother and her daughter, and it's the typical, mom is overprotective, and I can't have no fun, and then she learns to stop being overprotective. And I haven't even seen the show, but you know that's going to happen, because that's just how that storyline goes. They're not going to put some new twist on it, because the whole show, it's so freaking boring! And Sam and Guy are just horrible characters because it's the same thing every episode. It's like they don't think they're gonna work very well together. They end up working well together, and then they're like, and the guy is like, "I'm sick of you. I want to leave," and then he tries to leave, and then he can't. It's just over and over and over, rinse and repeat, the same plot line for every single episode. Oh my gosh. Long, irritating, boring, because you're just watching the same crap over and over and over and over. Every episode goes the same flipping way. Yes, different scenarios, kind of. But it's kind of just the same scenario with the little bit differences. And it's just like, oh my gosh, stop. And the animation isn't that good to make up for it. It's really pretty looking, but like, you know, the voice acting is good, but only on like Guy and Sam. But besides that, they're not that great. And a lot of this is just going on and 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 on. And it's just like, and like I said, it doesn't have anything to do with green eggs and ham. The voice acting, the story, the plot. It's a plot that has nothing to do with green eggs and ham. Basically, this isn't really a spoiler, but they're kind of on the run with this Jiggaraff from these villains called the Bad Guys. Wow. How lazy are you? And it seems like they're self-aware at points. Like Sam mentions how kind of the plot is kind of binge-worthy, and it's like, you know, it seems like they're self-aware about some of this stuff. But if they're self-aware, why didn't they write this better? Like, why didn't Sam come up with, point out that they're kind of running the same plot lines over and over again and kind of make a joke about it, and then they stop doing that? And it just goes on, and some of these plot lines are weird, and they have nothing to do with the green eggs and ham. There's like a fox that wants to stop eating eggs at one point. What? It's just, God. I hated this. I hated this show. I hated it. Oh my gosh, this show is terrible. Terrible. Because it's like, I can see little kids liking this, but like, I get it. It's nothing, there's nothing wrong with this being a little show that kids can enjoy, but like, anyone else, this thing sucks. It's boring as tar. I can't finish this. I don't even think I got to episode 8. I think I'm on episode 7. And there's like 13 episodes. See, I should have known that this wasn't going to be paced very well, but that first episode was so well paced that I thought the rest of the show would be just as good. But it wasn't. It was terrible. Had terrible pacing, had nothing to do with the Dr. Seuss material. Just the characters, names, the title, and the fact that they occasionally bring up Dr. Seuss references, and talk about green eggs and ham every once in a while. Why is this the most expensive show ever, animated show ever made? It's not, doesn't really have that big of a celebrity cast. The animation is pretty and all, but probably the animation if you ask me, but also the story, the writing is terrible. Like, you think you could afford some better writers. I don't know what they worked on. I'm sorry if I'm insulting the writers, but like, this show is not written well. You did a bad job. I don't think, considering Netflix wants to start making content cheaper, like, just make it, like, so they actually, at a cost of making it is cheaper. I don't think this show's going to get a second season. If it does, I'm very surprised. I'll probably make a video talking about a trailer, kind of, or the announcement, whatever, when it happens, if it happens. Don't think it will, because this is a disaster. I'm just going to call it Green Eggs and Ham is a disaster.